I'm Liz Tassone. I'm with the Caregivers Assistance Network, and I'm here today with Dr. Kathy Rosenbaum. And Dr. Kathy is a Christian holistic clinical pharmacist, and we're going to talk in the next 10 minutes about wellness for caregivers, because we know that you as a caregiver sometimes gives it your all to your loved one, and what you sacrifice at times is your own health. So Dr. Kathy's going to remind us what it means to be taking care of us as we take care of another. And Dr. Kathy is also, in addition to being a pharmacist, is also a caregiver, so she kind of understands this from the inside out. So welcome, Dr. Kathy.
Thanks, Liz. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thanks. And talk to us a little bit about wellness for caregivers.
Well, I have what I affectionately coin a 7 balance point model for wellness, and it's very simple and intuitive, but it's so important. It starts with physical health, and by the way, the traditional family physician is in that model for a good diagnosis and a good foundation for wellness and prevention. Then it moves to nutrition, good nutrition and supplements, some, sleep health, emotional health, relationship or social health, environmental health, and spiritual health. And I guess that's 8 steps. I'll have to correct myself. And I think the top of that pyramid, that building blocks of health pyramid, is the Lord Jesus Christ, which is our spiritual foundation.
Okay, so when you talk about the 7 steps, is it the top is you're almost thinking of a base like this in a pyramid shape. So the physical at the bottom, your relationship with your physician first.
Yes, that is a building block and a solid foundation, if you will, and one where we place a lot of emphasis in life. But I think as we move up the pyramid, and that's a great visual, isn't it? Mm-hmm. We need to put more and more effort to push up to that top rung, those top rungs being emotional and spiritual health, equally as important as our physical care.
And is this something you would say you pay attention to on a daily basis? Kind of check in with yourself on all these levels, maybe daily?
You know, that would be the ideal, but in reality, we probably don't do that, and that's not wrong either. I think that just an awareness that self or the life journey, especially in caregiving, requires nurturing and replenishment. We can become fatigued by giving compassion. I find that to be true today as my caregiving takes shape and form with a parent. I find that my energy is drained because of my emotional and, quite honestly, spiritual investment in this relationship, which is a great one. I'm thrilled to have it, honestly. I think it's a treasure for us as caregivers. But the reality is that investment has its toll. And we, as others, have to think about what is it today that's sort of out of balance. Mm-hmm. Maybe some days it's more of the emotion because something acute is going on and it needs to be dealt with right now. Other days it might be that we notice we just simply don't sleep as well. But I think every day should have a bit of meditation time and a bit of Bible time or relationship with Christ time, beginning and end. So parts of that, I think, daily.
Okay. When you say beginning and end, begin your day, end your day, in that space.
Absolutely.
And kind of checking in that way. And also checking in with yourself to see, I like how did I sleep? Just paying attention really to how you are physically in this day. Because if you haven't gotten much sleep, sometimes what's going to be sacrificed is that relationship. You're going to have maybe less patience with someone than you would have if you felt well and got a good night's sleep. So paying attention to all those aspects of your life is probably a good idea.
Absolutely. And if we're servants and we're all about caregiving, we're kind of rescuers in a way. I think many of our audience might resonate with that, especially if they're in healthcare in general. And you almost want to feel guilty about taking time for yourself. And that's not a healthy choice. It's okay to be a little bit selfish.
Yeah. I've heard it described before as the wisdom of the flight attendant who tells you to put on your own oxygen mask before you help the person next to you if they need your help in getting their mask on. So it's just a way of, you have to be full and filled up yourself before you can help the person next to you. So you have to have your own air and your own source first.
That's
so
right.
That is wisdom in a way, to just pay attention to yourself. As far as you're concerned, or you're recommending for caregivers in terms of supplements, since you're a pharmacist, is there any one or two things that you would say, this will help someone? I know you probably get this a lot because...
How did you guess?
Is there something that you would recommend to caregivers in terms of supplements or something?
Well, I think it's a generic recommendation. I'd like to start with whole foods, organic foods, and good nutrition, and then supplement, just as the word says. Add on, not replace, but supplement with an antioxidant strategy and an anti-inflammatory strategy. So what do I mean by that? Typically, a multiple vitamin is a good recommendation in general. Antioxidants come in the form of fresh fruits and vegetables, or they can be such things as vitamin C in low doses. What's a low dose of a vitamin C supplement? 100 milligrams. It's very difficult to find that. Mm-hmm. Typically they're in mega doses, and mega doses are not healthy. Long term they have problems, they have side effects. An anti-inflammatory strategy these days is fish oil.
Okay.
And everyone's about the business of purchasing fish oil, but a handful of walnuts every day can give one enough omega-3. So I can go the supplement route with caregivers, but I'm a little bit more inclined to encourage them to start looking in their pantry and on their grocery lists to get the job done.
Very good idea. I'm one of those people that takes a supplement for a few days and then forgets that I've got them in the closet or in the cupboard, and then I open and so on. Is there any danger in doing it that way, where you kind of one day overload and then the next day you kind of forget that they even exist? Or should I be more consistent with my supplements?
I'm not as rigid in my philosophy. I think if you're trying, that's all that God has intended for us to do. Being a good steward of our bodies means just being aware that, there's a plan in place. Some days I'm going to be better at that plan, and I'm not going to beat myself up when on the other days I perhaps am not.
Kind of the message I'm getting from you is to be gentle with yourself as a caregiver, to not feel like you have to fit into some perfect pattern, either with your health or whatever, to just have some gentleness towards yourself. Am I reading that correctly?
You're a good read, Liz. I think it's amazing to me how gentle we are with others, and that guiding principle of love is something that's so difficult to give to ourselves. And I absolutely believe that there is an element, a necessity of nurturing and loving self in a godly way to create an atmosphere of health and relationship. And once again, to me, if your foundation is in the Lord Jesus Christ, everything else just seems to fall into place. So at the beginning and end of each day, a relationship with Christ, that gentle love, that relationship continues on, not only through the caregiving and our service, but back to self.
Very good. I love the message. It's gentle and loving towards self, and gives that energy to love another and care for another as well. So thank you very much. So I want to thank Dr. Kathy Rosenbaum. And you can also hear Dr. Kathy on WMKV. You're on Mondays.
Mondays at 5:30. It's 89.3 FM.
And she has a live program. And what's the name of your show on WMKV?
It's called Your Holistic Health.
Your Holistic Health. So also tune in that, and we'll also put that at the top of this podcast. You'll be able to get information about when she's on the radio. So very good. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And I want to thank our sponsors: Landfair Retirement, Hillebrand Home Health, Blackstone Healthcare, Family Bridges Home Care, Independent U, and VITAS Hospice. I'm Liz Tassone, and always remember, caring matters.